Hello and welcome to the Ink Archive. My name is Briar and I am joined today with Tyler as we are going to be watching our finals in our set champions at our local game store. Now these are some really cool decks. What do you think of the two decks that we got going on here today?
So we have Emerald Steel versus Sapphire Steel. So it's two steel decks going up against each other. I'm a personal favorite of the Emerald Steel. I really like this list. I believe the player is on basically the one that won Vegas. So I don't think there's anything too crazy in there other than those cards, but the deck is very spicy and it's very good. And then Blue Steel. I think it's going to be kind of hard for Blue Steel. As a Emerald Steel player myself, I have never hated this matchup. They have a lot of songs you can take with their stuff, and they're pretty easy to disrupt because they're a bit slow, but it's also hard to get out from underneath of them. So we'll have to see how both players play this.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be an interesting matchup to see what kind of happens here because you do have the Emerald Steel that can control the board pretty quickly, and then you have Sapphire Steel that's looking to kind of ramp up a little bit, get some items out, and kind of just quest as much as they can with their big characters like the Tamatoa or the Aerial, just to kind of help get some stuff there and have resist with Cogsworth, making some things pretty beefy.
Yeah, I think one of the notable things is that because we have Sapphire Steel on the one side, they have a lot of really good answers to Diablo and pretty fast answers to Diablo. Um, so I won't be surprised if Kuzco if Diablo does not stick around for very long in any of these matches. So we'll have to see how Green Steel or Emerald Steel deals with that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they do have like a nice, easy removal and quick ways to do it, similar to kind of like what Steel Song does, in the sense of just being able to remove a lot of quick things early on, which is really good.
Yeah, I mean, unlike Steel Song, they're probably also on fire the cannons, if I had to guess. And that's just a straight up the best answer for Diablo. Um, but even outside of Diablo, they play I imagine that they're playing on some amount of Grab Your Sword, which also deals with the Green Steel's board pretty easily. Um, and they're also on the Peats to stop them from playing a bunch of actions, which Green Steel loves to do. Shuts down that Aerial or that Ursula. So we'll have to see how Sapphire Steel plans on dealing with all of that.
Yeah, and it looks like that the Sapphire Steel player has a giant Tink in hand as well from the altering, and also drew a whole new world, which is pretty big, I think here. But they might not be able to cast it as quick until they get into later turns. So that might be something they might look out for.
Yeah, I think I noticed a Cogsworth in there. So they definitely have at least two Uninkables in their hand, which is a little tough. But I also pretty sure I saw like a Popsicle and a Tipo, so he's probably okay for the first couple of turns here. Just depends on what other Inkables he has in his hand. If he can get this Cogsworth out really fast, it'll be really good for him.
He even has an aerial. Looks like he has that flash the aerial out there, so you kind of can
Yeah,
see he has three uninkables in hand. But like you said, he has the Tipo in there to kind of help ink some things up if need to be, which is pretty good.
yeah, yeah. This makes the most sense. He's not going to be able to play that Tinkerbell anytime soon. So
No. So we see turn one Diablo to look at the opponent's hand and pretty much revealing everything we see here. And we've got another Popsicle and some other cards to kind of help him ramp a little bit here. Plus, he has, like I said, the Cogsworth, the Aerial, and the Giant Tink.
the Hideaway is also kind of interesting. I wonder if he chooses to get rid of that here. Yeah, it. I really like Hideaway in this matchup because dealing with Hidden Cove is very annoying for Blue Steel, but also that's like the only location and the only thing it actually hits, and so it's not super relevant to keep. So
And we got a Shift Diablo here, discarding an action, shifting into our big Diablo. Probably one of the biggest cards in the game right now is that Diablo, being a menace for a lot of things, being able to shift pretty quickly, and being able to draw cards whenever your opponent draws cards.
yeah, it's pretty relevant, especially against blue steel that does just draw a bunch of cards. Um, Notably, like making it really hard for blue steel to play like a Flaversham this turn or anything like that. So we'll have to see what blue steel does or sapphire steel ends up doing here.
As we see, we just saw a Popsicle drop, and of course Diablo being able to draw a card with Popsicle now.
Yeah. This Visions has got to go find an answer to this Diablo. There's the fire of the cannons. I imagine he's taking the fire. Yeah.
Look like that's what he grabbed.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's got to get this Diablo off the board as quick as possible.
Oh, he actually hits the morph. Not even
Interesting.
the Diablo.
He's probably worried about a beast coming down right now. He doesn't have a whole lot of answers to beast either. Thinks he can play through this Diablo.
Yeah, he might be able to.
Yeah,
And
Beast. Looking at his hand, Beast would have caused a lot of issues. He literally has no way to get rid of Beast in any kind of timely manner, and that thing's gonna quest and just win the game and draw a bunch of cards. Even though Diablo is gonna do the same thing, like at least it's only questing for one.
now I know he had a Let It Go in his hand, and I think he inked it pretty early on too. And that would have been a
Yeah,
pretty decent answer.
I think it was off of the Tipo, I imagine, because we didn't see it actually get inked.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing him placing it down, but I know it was in his hand and is no longer in his hand.
Yeah.
So we see a Ursula coming down so that the songs that she sings get to be pretty much played at 2 times, which is pretty good. And then we have Diablo questing for an additional 1.
I'm not sure what the blues or what Sapphire Steel's plan is here. They're probably gonna have to get this Cogsworth down this turn.
Yeah, I think that's
But
like
lose.
the only thing that they can do, but looks like he inked it.
He's going for that Tinkerbell. He's banking on this Tinkerbell. Or he's just gonna punt. He's gonna push lore through with this aerial since Green Steel doesn't have a great way to deal with it, and he has a dime in his hand.
Yeah, he does have some ways to kind of do some stuff late game, which is really nice. But we'll see what happens here and seeing what the Emerald Steel player plays here.
Yeah. Luckily, Emerald Steel doesn't generate a ton of lore very fast. So like he's probably hoping to just get quote unquote like underneath of it with this aerial. Oh, no, plays the Tinkerbell. Okay.
So we've got the Giant Tink out, dealing 1 damage to all of the characters on the opponent's side of the board. And then looks like Tipo's going to quest.
Interesting. Luckily, it looks like Emerald Steel's just kind of playing its game plan. It's played a card on pretty much every curve.
Yeah, and then
Double
we have,
singing.
wow. Got the double sing to deal 6 damage to that Giant Tinkerbell to get it off the board, which is really big here.
Oh. Yeah, that Anna's gonna hurt.
That's definitely a big one here. Ooh, and then Diablo sings Let the Storm Rage On.
Interesting. I mean, Emerald Steel is definitely in the driver's seat right now. His opponent has 1 card in his hand. He's drawing cards off of this Diablo still. Like it's very much still his game.
Well, he did get to play the aerial now, and the aerial does have wards, so now it can't be targeted for anything, and it still has 1 card in his hand, and he can also quest for, I believe it's 5 off of that aerial since he does have more items.
Yeah, it'll be 5. It'll be 5, but if it goes sideways right now, if it exerts to quest, it's just gonna die. I don't imagine that Emerald Steel's gonna let that live for very long. It's a shame he doesn't have the dime anymore.
And then no actions now playing the Pete game referee, giving Steel Song or the Steel Sapphire player no actions their next turn. And then we are questing away.
Yeah, it looks like it's he's at 10 right now.
Yeah.
So he has game in 2 here. Drawing another aerial's not exactly super exciting here. He might need to use this area to take something out.
So we're
Yeah,
gonna
that makes
swing.
sense.
Yeah, swinging into the Ana to knock out the Ana, and then using one of the popsicles to heal that damage that would have been dealt to the aerial.
Hmm. This is a rough spot to get out of for Sapphire Steel. Because he's just gonna challenge this aerial and knock it out. Yeah. There's another Pete.
Man, more no actions, so no whole new world or anything if that ever gets played. And then discarding the last card in their hand again. Wow.
Yeah. This I don't know that there's a way out for Sapphire Steel in this position.
Yeah, I'm not for sure what he can quite get out of here. Unless if he just hopes to draw it into maybe grab your swords to kind of help clear the board a little bit, because I'll take care of 2 characters. But the Pete will still survive.
It's either that or oh well, or Hold New World would, because he can sing Hold New World now with Cogsworth, but that might get him back into the game. But Emerald Steel has so many cards in their hand right now that I just, even if he does deal with the board, like he's just gonna slam a bunch more characters down, and
Yeah, it looks
I don't
like
think the Sapphire Steel is gonna deal with it very well.
yeah, it looks like the Emerald Steel player has like 3 or 4 cards in their hand. And we're just gonna quest for 3, go to 15.
All right, going to Top Deck City here. See what he's got. Oh, oh, there it
Oh,
is. All right, well,
whole
he's
new world.
alive.
All right. Going through, since the Diablo is exerted, he does get to decide if he's going to draw those other cards or not.
I don't know that he remembered.
I don't know if he remembered or if he wants to.
Yeah, I don't know. In this position, I think I just take the 14. We can knock out Cogsworth here, so we can't actually sing another one.
Yeah, that might be the
I, it,
play
dep-
you
I,
want.
yeah, it depends on what he ends up playing after this, I guess. Like he has a Chenpo in his hand. I
Oh,
think he's scooping it up. Yeah.
yeah, I think he's doesn't really see a way to win it here. So
All right. Well, we got game 1 to Emerald Steel, which not getting rid of Diablo is, I think, is an interesting choice.
yeah, that was probably one of the big things that helped keep Emerald Steel in the driver's seat of just being able to have cards in their hand, answering anything that the Steel Sapphire player played.
Yeah, I think in Sapphire Steel, I mean, obviously we have near perfect information, but in that position, I think if you can, instead of playing the Tinkerbell, if you can play the aerial and get the dime down, and you just start to race, you only need 4 turns, not even, to win the game. So you can dime it once or twice and then quest with it once to finish off, and you can win the game that way. That might have been how he had to play it, since there's really no way for Emerald Steel to deal with Ward, like, at all. But that's, that's us having near perfect information.
Yeah, it would have been it would have definitely been interesting trying to see if you could got down the dime and the aerial. I think he was missing an ink that turn because he just kept getting his hand discarded when he was trying to at least somewhat go up to that point or ramp up to there so he can do something similar to that. And he just kept missing it, or cards just kept getting discarded from his hand.
Yeah, I think, well, he had 6 to play the aerial, or to play the Tinkerbell. So I think he had, if he had inked the Tinkerbell instead, I think that got him to 7, but I'm not quite sure. But hopefully keeping removal in his opener here for another turn 1 Diablo, or
So
turn 2 Diablo, I guess.
I did see grab your swords in the Sapphire Steel player's hand. I did see that, so I know he has some sort of removal, but maybe not early removal, it looked like.
He has early ramp. I know that much. He has like the Fishbone and Tipo, so that's pretty good for him. Is that his
Well,
second Flabbersham?
it is a
Yeah,
second Flabbersham.
that's pretty good for him. Flabbersham is very difficult for Emerald Steel to deal with. It's like the best card in this matchup.
And we do ink one of them. And then putting down the aerial as the ink from Tipo.
I mean, as soon as he gets this Flabbersham down, the game's going to be really hard to get back into for Emerald Steel.
Yeah, I agree. It just that keeps their hand up in check, making sure they still have the cards, and then they can still continue to ramp even more. And it looks like here the Emerald Steel player just hasn't even played anything yet. I mean, we are going into turn 2 here, so I think he is thinking on what he wants to play here and remove. But it's still a rough spot, not being able to play a card on turn 1, and now has dropped a morph on turn 2 here.
This is an interesting spot. Okay. Opts to not use the ramp this turn, which I think is fair. As much as Blue Steel or Sapphire Steel wants to ramp, recognizing he doesn't have a whole lot of options here, and he doesn't want to get rid of his win conditions. He's already inked one crab, so he doesn't want to lose too many of them. I think he has another popsicle in his hand. Yeah.
Yeah, he
So he
does
has
have a
more
popsicle.
fuel for this. More fuel for this hero.
All right, so we do get to shift into the Tragic Beast here. So now he can kind of help get some more card draw throughout the turn and being able to quest. And if there is damage that is dealt to the beast, he can challenge into something pretty big.
Okay.
So we got the Flabbersham popping the popsicle with the questing, drawing the 2 cards, and he does draw into another Flabbersham and a Cogsworth here.
Yeah, that Cogsworth will be pretty huge when he can get it down.
And we're questing with the Tipo going to 2.
Well, he's going to 3 here.
Oh, 3?
Yeah, because he quests with the Flabbersham this turn too. I believe it's 3. I could be wrong.
Should be 2 because he only quested for 2.
No. Okay.
This is the only time
I
he's
thought he
quested.
quested with the Tipo last turn too.
Oh, if he did, then I missed it. All right, now we get to look at the hand, remove, or just kind of look at it actually.
Yeah, that grab your swords is a little annoying to deal with here.
Yeah, with the Grab Your Swords, Whole New World, and we have those songs, plus being able to have Diamond Hand as well is really good here. And then drawing a Pete, game referee.
I gotta imagine he wants to get this Cogsworth down.
I would think so too. Being able just to give your characters resist one that helps keep that Shmi alive down there, as well as being able to sing any of your 5 cost songs, like Grab Your Swords or Whole New World. We choose to ink that Flabbersham.
The only thing he could do is get is just gonna pop the grabber swords. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, this stops
He's trying to.
stop the beast from drawing.
Yeah, I think that's what he's trying to do. Even though like he wants to get Cogsworth down there, I think shutting off this draw from the beast is infinitely more relevant.
So you do play the other or the 2-drop Ursula that lets you remove a song from the opposing player's hand, removing that Whole New World. So now there's not any real draw power going on besides the Flabbersham on the Sapphire Steel player's board.
Yeah, that'll change real fast though. He's almost to enough ink for this crab to go get back his popsicles, and he's got this dime in his hand too that he could chip off if he really wants to next turn.
Yeah, that Tamatoa is going to come down and then plays Lucky Dime. It's going to be to the races at that point. So we have that Ursula sing Let the Storm Rage On. So now it can sing it twice or play the card twice and puts 4 damage on the Flabbersham and gets to draw 2 cards.
Mm-hmm. Gets down a bird.
Got a Diablo here, paying the 3 for it.
Flowersham's a lot less exciting now.
Yeah,
Unless he
not
can
being
deal
able
with
to
it this turn.
yeah, not being able to have an item is kind of rough on the card.
Well, also this Diablo like makes it really hard to want to use. You don't want to. I mean, obviously this turn he has a turn to deal with it, but gets rid of the Singer Ursula, which is really good for him. Interestingly, has enough to. Okay, he doesn't do it. He had enough to use that fishbone and then ink something from his hand and then use the fishbone to also get this Cogsworth out, but chose to play a little more passively. It would have left him with 1 card in his hand too, which is pretty not good.
I mean, if he even played the Cogsworth before sending the Tipo into the Ursula would probably been good too to help keep the Tipo alive.
Yeah, that's true. I think he just wanted to get that card off the table and didn't realize it. Which is fair, it happens to all of us.
Yeah, it does. Now we see an Ana here paying the 5 so we can use her second effect, banishing the Mr. Shmi.
Yeah, that makes sense. Probably dropping oh, he inked the Hypnotize, okay. Thought he was playing it. I guess he didn't have the ink to do that. Can't do math. Another grab your sword here is pretty big.
Yeah, that's actually a good one. And looks like we are going to sing that Grab Your Swords with the Cogsworth, knocking out that Diablo and then putting 2 damage on everything else.
The real question, does he run his Flourish him into the beast to get rid of it, so it doesn't get rid of its Cogsworth, or does he try to keep the... Nope. Alright. We're drawing cards.
Yeah.
Zeus and Visions of the Future are two real good cards to to draw here.
Yeah, those are some pretty good cards, helping him go through the deck and kind of remove some stuff with the Zeus that he has in his hand too.
Interesting. I don't know. I think I kind of like holding on to that Visions. He's at the point where his next ink allows him to um just like if he draws another one that he doesn't want to get rid of, next turn he can do it, or he can still ship that Visions away.
Well, we had the Honest Seeing a Let's Stormray John, drawing a card and finishing off that Flaversham with 2 damage on it. And then Ursula singing Sudden Chill to discard that Zeus from the opposing player's hand. Now playing a Pete.
Looks like Emerald Steel has maybe turned the corner here a little bit. This crab is going to come down though, and it's going to be a little bit harder to deal with than Emerald Steel wants it to be, unless he has a Bruno in his hand, I guess.
Yeah, there's not much we can see from his hand, and I think that's probably what he's looking for, is some sort of removal on this crab, or finding a way to make sure that his characters don't really get banished or anything. So Tamatoa comes down and grabs a Popsicle from the discard, and we are going to ink a card and probably play that Popsicle just to get an extra card back in hand. Possibly. Yep, and there
And
it
he
is.
keeps dumping Visions of the Future, but I really wish he would hold on to him. I think he should just be dumping Pete. He's not like actively playing it on any turns right now. Visions lets him search and go find the answer he needs right now.
And here's the card to remove it. Let's see if he can remove that Tamatoa. You have 3 cards in hand. Boom.
The Pete.
Gets rid of the Pete.
Question for 4. Now this game is all suddenly pretty much tied up.
Yeah, pretty much.
So the crab.
So, yeah, we have 2 Tamatoas and a Popsicle in hand, so he can play them both. Play the Tamatoa and then play the Popsicle to help get some more items out, so he can find that dime.
Oh, you can just go get the dime, I think, yeah.
That's was like, just get the dime from the discard, and then play the
Yeah,
Popsicle.
that makes no sense.
We got another Pete in the hand. All right, let's see what the Emerald Steel player can do. He's got 2 cards in hand. Five for a beast and moving him over to the cove.
So this crab is going to quest for what? 1, 2, 3, 4.
It
4?
will, yeah, it'll quest for 4, and then you have the dime, which will put some, I think, what, additional 5, I believe.
Yeah, well, it'll be 4 if he plays dime. Shampoo's a pretty good draw here.
This is a pretty good draw. Questing for 3 here.
I wonder if he's gonna ship these popsicles off to heal this Tamatoa. That's also a pretty good draw.
All right, so we're counting out our ink here, seeing if we can pull off some nice ink lore gain, or some lore gain really, and seeing if we can get it. Paying 6 4. A giant tink putting 1 damage, and that knocks out the Ana and the Ursula that had 2 damage already on it. And then we did
Yeah, I was
get to
gonna say the
play
beast.
Pete.
Beast needs damage on it.
Yeah, and then we got a game referee Pete here, making it so that the Emerald Steel player can't play any actions now.
Notably, he can actually attack this Tamatoa and banish it with a challenge to this beast.
Yeah, and he does that exactly.
Sorry, he has another crab in his hand. I don't think he minds too much.
Not too much at all.
Yeah. We're probably gonna see another crab come down. Oh, yeah, gets the dime down and copies Tinkerbell, I assume. That's also fair.
Yeah, I mean, this pretty much puts him at like a checkpoint part. Yeah, because there's
Yeah,
no way to really
yeah.
knock out that Tinkerbell to really do anything with it. I mean, he might have been able to knock out the Tinkerbell, but he still had the Tamatoa, and just being able to play that and then gain the lure off of that should seal the game at that point.
Yeah, he has the attack on the Tinkerbell with the Pete and the Ursula, but he loses both of them to it, and so it's not really worth it. And then, like you said, he has the Tamatoa, which basically just wins him the game anyway at that point.
Yeah, pretty much. Gave himself a little checkmate on the board there.
Alrighty.
So now we were trying to see. So this is going into game 3 here. We saw both players pretty much pull some pretty good stuff going in on their opening hands. We saw our player 2 pull some pretty good stuff with good Emerald Steel cards going on curve and being able just to help keep control over the opposing board and drawing cards. And then we had the Sapphire Steel just being able to control the second game with some early game aggro and some really good draw power going through, being able to just keep consistency going through. Now the question is what will they try to see if they could find the same thing this turn and try to do the exact same thing they've been doing for the past 2 games?
Yeah, this one's a weird one. Seeing as Emerald Steel is probably taking the play here. If he goes turn 2 Ursula into take a song out of their hand and then plays Prince John and then sudden chills them, like if they can basically just like destroy his opponent's hand, Blue Steel has a really tough time getting out of it, especially when Emerald Steel's on the play. So if Blue Steel doesn't keep any songs or anything like that, which I think he's been playing around, it looks like, because he does not kept a song in his opener unless he mulligans into one. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, I didn't see a song after the altar here, but I may be wrong. I may just looked over at the other opponent hand. I didn't really see anything yet. But he did seem
I
like
saw
some good curve going in with Popsicle and a couple other things.
Yeah, I don't know if I saw a Tipo though, which is pretty huge for this deck. Fortunately, we can't see the Emerald Steel's hand a little bit more than we with this angle.
Yeah, sadly we can't. I will say we did see there is a 2-drop card in the far left, and there it is. Yeah, there you see it. But we do get to see a Diablo, so the opponent gets a look at it now. And we see, oh, he does have a T-Po. It does look like he has a T-Po in hand. So he does have a good, nice kind of curve going in from 1 to 2. Now we'll have to see what the Emerald Steel player does. If are we going to be able to bring out this Diablo on their second turn, or bring down the Ursula and kind of start seeing if we can start ripping cards from the opposing hand.
Notably, there's no answer to Diablo on Blue Steel side or Sapphire Steel side, so he also knows that he's pretty safe to go for this shift unless he like top decks the terminal that he needs in a turn or two here. Yeah, this will be the shift.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's so nice about that one drop Diablo. Even though it doesn't actually do anything, the fact that it scouts for itself to see if it's safe to go for the shift the next turn is like pretty backbreaking sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes Diablo just even more of a menace, is just being able to shift on top of it, looking into the smaller one, looking at that hand, and just like you said, scouting out, seeing if it is safe to play it, and shifting into the new one, or holding on to it and going a different route, playing that Ursula the following turn, seeing if there's any actions that they need to remove from the hand, or songs removed from the hand, which is really big. And that might be good. And now we see a tragic beast here on the board, and it looks like that we are just going to have them both. Maybe one of them. Oh, we're actually going to have Diablo sing "Let the Storm Rage On" and knock out that Tipo drawing a card.
That's
Surprised he
crazy. He
didn't do
didn't even
anything with
quest this
Beast.
beast. Yeah,
Yeah,
it might just be everybody's so scared of Maui these days that they just expect like a rush character to come in. 100% you just quest with this beast here. There's no way for Blue Steel to get around or to like get damage on it unless they're using removal, which like they can just do if it's exerted anyway. So or readied anyway. So
all right, so it looks like that we're going to be digging for some cards, trying to either find some removal or some draw power going in. And looks like we only had a dime and a popsicle in hand. It looks like he had the Flabbersham from that card.
yeah, that was a tough one. Having the Zeus or the Flaverson to choose from, it sucks because he doesn't want to play into this Diablo, but he also doesn't want to spend an entire turn just shooting Diablo with the Along Came Zeus either.
Now we see a Prince John, which is great for this draw. And now we're going to quest with both Beast and Diablo.
Yeah, Green Steel's definitely, or Emerald Steel's definitely off to the races here. This is gonna be really tough for Sapphire here to deal with because he's gonna play into this Diablo.
I mean, he drew some pretty decent cards, drew a Let It Go and a Giant Tink, but nothing to really stop anything this turn. And it might be going into the following turn. And then we play another Popsicle.
It's just a little bit too late, I think.
It is. I think it is too late. It's a little. The Emerald Steel player already has established a board of, I can draw a bunch of cards and answer anything and quest for a bunch. You have to answer it somehow. And they're just not seeing anything, and it's all too late for it.
Having Diablo and Beast here is kind of a menace. Part of me thinks he might have had. He should have taken that Along Came Zeus off of that Visions to deal with either this Beast or this Diablo. Even though like it's not great to do, he's got to find a way to stifle this card draw. He's drawing like 3 cards a turn, and it's generating so much. Like, look how many cards Emerald Steel has in his hand right now. It's like a quarter of his deck.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of cards. I think the Zeus was probably The answer I think would just being able to answer probably the beasts because it does quest for 2 and you can take care of that. Um Even though there's some things that the Diablo does that definitely can be backbreaking too. I think that beast is a little bit scarier right now and then find a way to answer that Diablo later on.
Yeah, you have far more answers to Diablo than you do for Beast. Well, I mean, you only have to get 1 damage on this Beast to really shut it off. But
Of course, now he does have the Let It Go in hand, so he can get rid of either one now. Even though they'll go to the opposing player's ink, it at least will remove some of the problematic stuff going on, at least so he can try to establish a board somewhat before the Emerald Steel player just kind of takes it.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see Tinkerbell next turn. Tinkerbell gets the 1 damage on the Beast, and then he can't ever actually, like, use it. If it does, and then he can sing Let It Go on the Diablo. Its problem is there's so much lore on the table for Emerald Steel.
Yeah, I mean he's questing for 7 a turn
7.
now.
Yeah.
All right, and there's our giant Tink on board.
He's got another giant Tink in his hand. I wonder if he's just gonna play play that next turn to deal with this John and this Diablo.
Yeah, that might be the play, and it's probably what he's going to do. But would it be too late though? Is going to be the question.
I mean, yes. that's
Oh
that's
yeah,
the short answer, but like he did ink his Let It Go, but I think he's kind of forced. I mean, I don't know. I don't think he's forced to. Um he has his Tipo. I'm curious as to why he didn't ink the oh no, I think he drew the Tipo off the popsicle. Or no, he drew the other Tinkerbell off the popsicle. Um Yeah, because then he could sing and play Let It Go next turn, and that deals with 3 things rather than just 1.
mm-hmm.
But his hand is non-existent right now.
Yeah. At this point, it's got no hand, and we're looking at Emerald Steel player pretty much with their whole deck is their options.
Yeah.
And now we don't even have a board. Questing for 5 here. And we see,
Hmm.
ooh, we see our big
Yeah.
guy here. Does nothing.
He pretty much has to see Grab Your Sword, and even then, I would not be surprised if we saw a Pete come down this turn.
Yeah, if a Pete comes down this turn, I think that's just I would just scoop and call it a at that point because I mean there's no real answers for anything that you can do at that point.
Yeah. I think we've seen Emerald Steel link at least 1 Pete, though, so he might not have any.
You know, I would imagine him playing 4 of them. All right, looks like we're questing for 7. I think this pretty much seals everything here. Play a cove. Do we just move everybody to the cove and make sure that they don't die from grab your swords? Well, I mean, they're all
Probably.
well, they might. Yeah, they still die. Some of them still die. The Ana and the Beast won't, of course, but your Prince John and Diablo will.
Not from Grab Your Sword. Oh yeah,
Grab,
they have the 1 damage. His die are
yeah,
like matching his
I
mat, and it's
know.
like hard to see him.
Yeah, it's hard
I
to see him.
forgot
I
they had
was like,
damage.
oh. All right, so we
Yeah.
got rid of his character with Storm, drawing a card, dealing 2 damage, and now we see What else is he going to do? He's going to Ursula just to look at an empty hand, and we're going to move Beast over.
Yeah, I think this game is.
All right, and now we see what the play is, and
Yeah.
that is it. It was a Fishbone Quill, and then another Fishbone Quill. We're the
Oh,
top two cards. Man,
that's no fun.
no, that was definitely a rough one. I think Steel Song kind of, or the Emerald Steel just saw everything it needed to.
I think it's a pretty good matchup for Emerald Steel. Like I said, I've played this matchup a handful of times, and Emerald or Sapphire Steel is very slow to like get started, and they only play one or two cards a turn, and that's like what all the Emerald Steel wants you to do is play one or two cards a turn, and they're dumping their own hand to like ramp a lot of the time, and so you just kind of catch them on turns where they're ramping, and you discard their hand for it, and now they no longer get to play the game anymore. And so it's real tough for like Sapphire to Steel to like stay in the game if they don't find like a whole new world or if Lavishim without their own Diablo on the table or something along those lines.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something that they need to do is make sure they have all their things to help remove, and it is definitely an interesting match, but definitely towards the Emerald Steel players, definitely a little more favored because, like you said, the Sapphire Steel just plays one or two cards at a turn, and with Emerald Steel they can just answer anything and empty out their hand, answer it, empty a hand, answer it, and just keep stocking up and being able to remove everything that the player plays.
Yeah, no, I think both players played really well. They both made interesting decisions and were they're I mean they're at the finals of the store champ for a reason. So
Yeah, no, they definitely made it to the finals, and congrats to our player two here with the Emerald Steel deck, going in and winning our set champs here at our locals. And congrats to our second place player as well. It was definitely a great match. It was definitely fun seeing these two decks face off against each other and seeing what choices are made and what helps certain favors in their matchups. But definitely congratulations to both players. But that will be it. Thank you guys for watching this video with the Ink Archive. And this was really fun. And hopefully we'll get back into our new stuff as we see into the new sets coming out with our set 6. Coming out with some new cards and some new game mechanics and new deck combinations. It'll be really exciting to see. I am definitely excited to see it. I'm pretty sure you're excited to see it, Tyler.
yeah, there's a couple new cards I'm interested in. So definitely a couple build around cards and a couple of cards I'm excited to mess around with this set.
Yeah, so definitely stay tuned as we cover cover the new set 6 release here into this new and fun, awesome game of Lorcana. And until then, we will see you next time. Bye.
See it.